Hi, I'm following along with Paul McCorders Raspberry Pi Pico lessons, and I already submitted my homework for lesson 52 about uh, uh, doing like the kit style animation on a strip of pixels. Um, while waiting for lesson 53 to come up, as you can see, it's coming up in about 100 minutes here in my time. But while I was waiting, I was this week I had some time and I said, well, I think it'd be kind of cool to control which demo. I have several demos on my thing, and I was going in and changing which demo to use. And of course, you could always use the shell monitor to, choose which number or which one you wanted or whatever. But I thought it'd be nice if you could set up like a web page to choose which one you had. I have done a little bit of web page stuff with the Pico W in the past, mainly slider controllers for servos and stuff like that. And I thought, um, the thing is that you got animations going on the NeoPixels, but your normal uh, interaction with your sockets and everything is serving your web pages is a blocking function where it just has to wait for something to be input and nothing else can happen on your Pico while that's happening. And I knew that read a little bit that there's a couple ways at least to do two ways at least to do this, and I'm going to show one of the ways today. um, the way I'm not showing is a library module called async io or uasync io micro async io, and I might investigate how to do it on that. And if I figure it out, I'll post a video later on how to do it that way. Um, but the way I worked out today is using the second thread, the second core on the Pico W, using one core to run the web interface and then one core to do the NeoPixel animations. So you can see that I got the NeoPixels going and got it set up, and I got just a little, uh, URL number there that we're doing, and just got the code bringing back this. Uh, when you click on a button, it'll bring back, it'll add this to the URL. So right now we're on the random bounce is what we have. So if I change it to the random wave, you can see that it's changing colors from one end to the other. It's kind of washed out with the camera, but that's what we're doing. And you can see it changed it up here to rainbow wave. And then the static wave, the whole strip just changes at one time. It can take up to 5 seconds for this to change because it has to wait for the animation to finish before go through the whole loop of colors before it does it. So, but now we're on this. So uh, the colors are changing a little faster than I have in my previous videos because uh, the the short longer you have in between your colors, the longer the demo takes, and the less responsive your button press is. The button press will work, but it's going to wait for it to finish the animation before it comes. So I certainly didn't figure all this out on myself, but I did find this one guy, Bytes and Bits UK, and he, of course, has some very advanced code to, and but he was showing the two ways, the async IO and the using the dual core on the Pico W, how to, set this up. He's got, like I say, he's got all kind of things going on and a big old dashboard. And, but I watched the 46-minute video and took what I needed out of it and um, took it down to the level where I am. And like I said, I can read advanced code, but I don't want to make videos about advanced code or just copy and pasting or anything like that. So I try to bring it down to the level that I'm at and some of the other students in Paul's classes are at. So that's what we're doing today. So I guess let's get to the code. So here's my Thorny, and I have a separate program called My Wi-Fi, which is what we have up here now. And basically, this is just a network in the socket, so it actually um, connects to gets the connection. And like I said, I have trouble with my connection, so my connect is a little different here, where it'll try 5 times and then it'll go back and restart again and try it again, and it usually gets it on the first or second time. So um, through, and then once it gets the IP address, it prints it on the screen and on the shell back down here, and that way you know where your web page, what you got to point to for your web page. The good thing, it seems like that each Raspberry Pi Pico puts out the same uh, IP address each time. Or I don't know whether that's a function of my router, probably. I don't know, but it whatever does it, it's the same. Now, if I have several Picos here, if I change to a different Pico, it'll give me a different number, IP number. But uh, like I said, if I run this, if I have this code running in where from the main, it's not connected to the computer at all. It's not where you just plug it in, it works. Um, you don't have that number, but so far the 108 is what this Pico has been set up to do. So I haven't had to change the web page when I unplug and plug it in. So anyhow, like I said, and then after we get the IP, then we do our socket and get our connection. And at that point, I switch over to whatever program I'm doing. So I call this one Wi-Fi Pixels dot Wi-Fi Pixels dot Pi. So um, again, since I'm using my Wi-Fi that's in my that, like I said, it's in brackets, so that it's in on the Pico, and this is on the Pico as well. So my Wi-Fi, and then of course you got machine and NeoPixel and time and random. I use random ints, and like I said, this way I'm showing is with the threads using the second core on the uh, Pico W. Of course, this thread, I wondered why they had this underscore in front of it, but evidently it's an experimental thing, and you're not guaranteed it's going to work. And they talk about you could end up with memory leakage out of it. And I read several uh, threads in the forums, Raspberry Pi forums, where you get memory leakage or you have trouble um, communicating between threads. They said you're all right as long as you don't change. They suggest using all global variables in each thread and communicating that way. But they said that as long as you're only changing the variable in one thread and just reading it in the other, you'll probably be okay. So that's what we're doing here. And so and it has been working for me. So that's a good thing. So, like I said, this is our some variables that I've set up, and of course set up the NeoPixel strip. I got that 90 or 60 pixel strip, flexible strip that I got around my neck. Like I said, this is the color wheel thing that I've discussed in a previous video. And I have three different, like I say, three different functions for rainbow static. That's where just the whole strip changes at one time. The rainbow wave, where the colors change throughout the uh, strip at a little bit different times. And then I got the color bounce, where you're bouncing the pixels from, you know, one from one end and one from the other. And then I have this is actually what I call from my second thread. So this is actually like the um, uh, while true thing. I'm setting up the globals and I'm clearing the pixels and when I start, and then the while true, and then just checking to see which number. This demo number is our global that I use in both threads. Um, and we're seeing which one it is, and then we're running the function based on that. So that's all to do with the pixels. And like I said, down here farther, I'm doing thread dot start new thread and choose demo, and I'm not passing any arguments, so I put nothing in there. So that's where you start the thread. The rest of these, everything above here is functions that run. So uh, the, when you start this program, it does what's does what's at the top. It sets up the NeoPixel strip, then falls all the way through, and then starts this thread, and then uh, it does this uh, Wi-Fi could my Wi-Fi dot connect, so it goes off to that other program and connects. And then the serve is up here. We have the serve function here, which is for the web page. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So like I said, this is all everything above this line, this area here is for NeoPixels. Everything below it is for that. So we define our web page, which is just an F string with three quotes. That way it allows for line feeds, or new lines to be shown in your code so that it shows up. HTML really doesn't care about that, but it just makes it easier to read, I think, in some cases. So like I said, my HTML is 4, and I might as well do a side here. I tried to bring up, you saw what the button sizes were on the web page that I brought up. When I bring it up on a phone, those things are about the size, those buttons are about the size of a large grain of salt. And you got to use your fingers to make them bigger so you can do it. So I got to improve some. I'd like to set up where you can use a mobile device to do this. And like I say, I need to work on my HTML skills, figure out how to have it sized for the different platforms for mobile and for uh, web or whatever we got here, and so that they're all nice size. But anyhow, that's just an aside. I couldn't. I have to do some investigating to see how to get the mobile buttons a correct size. But basically, here's just a header, just saying, please choose your NeoPixel demo, and then I have three buttons. These are just inputs, three inputs, and they're associated with a form action and everything. So, like I said, it's going to return this slash rainbow static slash rainbow wave slash random bounce. And that's how we'll find them in our code. So, and I was showing that when you hit that button, it part of the return is that random bounce, or whichever comes up, so that we can look for that in our serve connection. So when we get down here to our serve connection, and like I said, we need to have his demo number, so it has to be global, and we're only changing it. This Another thing that you need to know: this is the main thread. This is thread 0, I guess you would call it, or whatever. This is the uh, thread, and you can only run your server. The guy, Bits and Bytes guys, have found out the hard way that you can only run your web part in your main thread. You can't you can't do that in a new thread. It won't work. It works for a second or two and then just stops, he says. And I haven't tried that, but I believe him that it doesn't work. So anyhow, so you need to put this, like I say, you put your web interface in your main first thread. And if you want to start a second thread, that's where you put your NeoPixels, which seem to work just fine over there, or whatever you want to do. If you were, I think you'd use a similar thing if you were doing like a car, like a robot car interface, where you wanted to control it. Um, you would put your motor control in a second thread and use your first thread just to uh, do the web page stuff. So anyhow, like I said, this is where, let's see, which part of this? Uh, I think it's this one, request client dot receive 24. I think this is the one that is a blocking. So you're gonna, while true is gonna do this, but it's gonna come down here, and I think it's this one. It's gonna sit here until it receives something. And then once it receives it, then it'll go through the rest of it. And then eventually, since we're in a while true, it'll go back up to the top, and it's going to sit there again. So this is a blocking way. And like I said, I watched the video on the async IO, and you handle your connection differently. There's a different method of doing it, and it's a little bit more involved than what I've learned to do with the sockets and everything. But we'll I'll investigate that and see what comes up of it. So anyhow, we're just doing that, and then we're splitting out our request, because you always get the get part as your first thing when you split. So 0 is the get, and then you're splitting on a space. So the very next one has your information that you need. Ours is going to have the IP address along with the rainbow static, rainbow wave, or random bounce is what's going to be in this uh, split, this number one. So your request is going to be in there. And then we just check to make sure that first we set our demo to 0 so that we don't adjust our demo. And this is demo num, not demo number. So this is actually just a temporary thing so that we can figure out which one we have. And then, like I said, you get your request and you split it out so it's just that small second, or the number index one section of your long thing that you get back from your web page request. And we're seeing if the word rainbow underscore static is in there, or rainbow underscore wave, or random underscore bounce. And if it's in there, then we're setting the num here of that. And then we're checking if num is no longer 0, then we're changing demo number, which is our global variable, by that. And if we were running on, we would do it on here, we would run it. And then you just send the web page back through again. So I really don't understand how the web page is served down here. I guess maybe the first time through you're going to receive just any kind of information. When you do this, the web page is going to say, "Oh yeah, here I am," and then it'll go through here, but it won't find any of these. And then we're going to serve that our HTML that we have down there, and then it's going to go back up to the top, and it's going to wait for something else to come back from that. And like I said, you can get a lot of times the web pages will say keep alive or something like that and just send random stuff. But if it doesn't have anything of either one of these three things in it, then it means it wasn't a response from us, a key press or a button press from us. So it doesn't do anything with it. So it may go through this on its own if it's like a keep alive something, but only if it gets the our three things is it going to do anything. So anyhow, that's basically what it is. And like I said, we got it running. We can go back to that web page and show that what happened to my mouse. I lost my mouse. There it is. Mouse on a wait page. Says when it has to get to red before it stops, and then it should start. Yep, now we're doing the random bounce. And we can go back to the random wave. You can see it's green into blue, red into yellow, blue into blue, green into blue. So it's the wave. And then this is the static one. And like I said, hard to tell on your screen, but there is a little bit. Someone asked me, well, you're running 60 pixels off or you're running it off the Pico. And I am running it off the USB thing. Your 5 volt or your V system or whatever it is coming. I looked at the schematic on the Pico. It's coming right on off the USB, and it's like the first pin near the USB. So the only thing you're doing is you're running. When I'm running the way I am now with a random, I'm running close to 1 amp of current through that. My USB hub is about 1 amp. It will allow 1 amp to come through. So these pixels are probably underpowered a little bit, and even though they're so bright, but they're underpowered. And there is a little flicker in real life. You can see just a little flicker in them where they might not be getting all the juice they're supposed to be getting. But because I'm going through a USB hub, I'm not afraid to run it through there, and I'm trusting um, uh, that they have a thick enough trace on that PC board to get the 5 volts to the from the USB to the 5 volt pin there. Um, if I if my board burns up, I guess I'll know. Yeah, down $7 if it does, but so far it's worked. And like I said, by using the wheel function, we only ever have a total of 1 pixel. No matter what color you got, you only have 1 pixel worth of a current at a time on it. So anyhow, I've been talking too long again. So thanks for watching, and look forward to Paul's video. It should probably be up before I get this posted up. So thanks, Paul, for all you do. Have a great day, everybody.